I want you to close your eyes, breathe in, and completely relax your whole body. And imagine that in your mind's eye, you can see a single candle with a flickering flame. And I will start counting upwards from 1 to 7. And you will listen to the suggestions that I ask you to do with each incremental number. And while you're looking at the flame, I will continue to count. And again, you will follow the suggestions given directly to you while you're intently focusing on the flickering flame in your mind's eye. At all times, even if your mind drifts, focus back on this imaginary candle and the flickering flame. And you will notice as you look at the flame that one portion of the flame is especially bright, a sort of glowing central heart of the flame. Focus your attention completely on that bright glowing core of the flame. And in a few moments I shall begin to count. Even in your imagination, you will focus on the brightest portion of the flame. And while I talk to you, you will become sleepier and sleepier, because that flame is becoming for you a symbol of sleep. The flame means sleep. The flame means sleep. Your subconscious, even now, is beginning to associate the image of the flame with the process of sleepiness. In your subconscious, the flame is becoming a signal for sleep, deep sleep. And whether you actually look into the flame or merely see the flame in your mind's eye, you will grow sleepy. Your limbs will become heavy. Your eyelids will become heavier and heavier, and you will want to drift off into a pleasant sleep. The flame means sleep. Flame, sleep. Flame, sleep. Then, when I continue to count, you will continue to look at this imaginary flame in your mind's eye. You will notice the very glance of the flickering flame makes you grow even sleepier. It will impress even more deeply into the subconscious that the flame means sleep, that the flame is a symbol of sleep, and that the flame is a signal for you to grow sleepy. You will keep your eyes closed and drift into a deep, pleasant, relaxing sleep as I continue to talk to you. Starting to count. 1. Notice the flickering flame. Focus on the heart of that flame, the bright part of the flickering flame, and notice that the flame represents sleep. And as you look at the flickering flame, you feel more and more deeply relaxed, more and more sleepy, deep sleepy. And as you notice the flickering flame, you are now going deeper and deeper asleep now. Not in the conventional way that we describe sleep, but in the metaphorical hypnosis version of sleep. Sleep, in this sense, is a trance-like state of concentrated relaxation. It's that sleep that you're drifting into. Sleep is a term used in hypnosis to describe how deeply and comfortable, relaxed you are. And every time you hear me use the word sleep, you will go even more deeply relaxed. And you will notice the image of the candle flame flickering in your mind's eye. So, go deeply to sleep as you notice a warm wave of relaxation spreading throughout the whole of your body, from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of the toes. Experience this now. It's spreading throughout the whole of your body and your mind as you drift deeper and deeper into a gentle, hypnotic sleep. And as this wave reaches your toes, your whole body is deeply asleep, rested and comfortable. And your mind can follow my voice as it takes you even deeper into this relaxing feeling. I will now count the numbers from 10 to 1. And with each and every descending number, you find yourself becoming sleepier and sleepier, more comfortably relaxed than you can ever remember being. So if your unconscious is ready, 10. With your eyes closed, keep an image of that candle flame flickering away up there in your mind's eye. 9. That's right. Now I want you to continue with your eyes closed. Focus on the flickering of the flame of the candle. Notice how the flame flickers and dances, perhaps giving a glow that reminds you of how sleepy you are beginning to feel. 8. Even sleepier now. That's right. This time you can continue to see the candle flame in your mind's eye is taking on a quality all of its own. And that feeling of sleepiness and detachment is increasing. Your mind has already accepted that the flickering flame means sleepiness to you, and your whole body is beginning to feel heavy and relaxed. 7. The candle is still flickering, but perhaps it begins to wane a little now and then, and that's all right, because you are still very sleepy and very relaxed. 6. The candle is still burning, but is beginning to burn itself out. Keep focusing on it for now, and you will know when it eventually extinguishes itself, it will be time for you to enter the deepest level of hypnotic trance. 5. Your relaxation has spread throughout your entire body and mind. Your legs and arms are relaxed, as is your body, and this sleepiness is really taking hold now. Notice how it's just too much effort to open those eyes, so keep them closed, because nobody wants or needs anything from you. This is your special time to relax. 4. All you want to do is drift away to some special thoughts, but just notice how the candle wax drips slowly down the side of the candle and into its holder. Very soon there will be no frame. Very soon there will be no flame there. Very soon it will be complete darkness in your mind's eye. 3. The flame is so low now, but it doesn't bother you. In fact, nothing bothers you. Right now you haven't a care in the world. The only thing that matters to you is this wonderful feeling of calm relaxation. 2. The flame is fading away. It is so low that you can barely see it, and you are so comfortable and sleepy and very, very relaxed. 1. And there the flame is gone. The candle is exhausted and spent, and you are in a deep hypnotic trance, and the ideal frame of mind to allow suggestions that will benefit you to penetrate the very deepest part of your life. And before we begin working on these issues together, these areas that you want to focus on, I want you to know and to understand that any time during the course of your usual everyday life, you come across a candle flame, you will act and feel and think absolutely normally, just as though this session hadn't taken place. It's only when you think of a candle in your mind's eye, then it will represent hypnotic sleep. It's only when you're listening to my voice and you imagine a candle in your mind's eye that a candle flame will represent sleep. At all other times, without exception, you will react absolutely normally. And now, while I'm communicating with your subconscious mind, I want you to take a few moments and just feel how good it feels to be completely relaxed in a hypnotic trance, before I continue with direct suggestions to enable you to make continued progress in your life. In this relaxed state, your unconscious mind is receptive to suggestions to tap into new and incredibly powerful resources. And some of the resources that are useful are the resources of energy and motivation. Now, what you may or may not understand, either consciously or unconsciously, is the very reason why you are looking to lose weight and lose body fat tells you that you have all the energy that you need to achieve your outcome. Because when you think about what body fat is, it is energy in its rawest form. The human body has the ability to store excess energy, and in times of famine or where there is a lack of food or nutrition, the body can then tap into this stored energy so that you have the ability to not necessarily have the exact quantity of food or energy on any given day. On some days, you may have more energy than you need and your body can store it. And on other days, your body may have less energy than it needs and it can tap into the body fat. You will no longer think of body fat as anything other than energy. And the very energy that you have will give you the level of ability to take the action and the activity to then be able to turn this stored energy into real active energy. The laws of thermodynamics tell us that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It simply shifts from one form to another form. Therefore, the only way that you are able to convert your body fat is to transfer the body fat into stored energy and realize it into active energy. You can turn it into movement, into heat, and all the different things that energy can be used for. Therefore, you have all the energy that you need to lose the weight. Now, sometimes people confused energy with hunger. And for a long while, you've been storing fat and storing energy while sometimes feeling tired or feeling hungry. And the reason for that is that when a certain hormone is present in your blood, your body can't see the stored energy in your body fat. And that hormone is insulin. So the less insulin you have in your blood, the more you will naturally be able to convert your body fat into the energy that your body needs. And that energy is known as ketones. So from this point onwards, the more that you want to activate and tap into and convert the body fat into energy, the more you will have a desire to eat foods that are high in water. High water content foods like salads, fruits, vegetables will enable your body to see the stored energy in your body fat. The more water that you drink and the more water that you contain in your foods, the more you will be eating food that is high in nutrition and low in calories. And the less calories that you consume and the more water that you consume in your diet, the more your body will be able to convert your stored energy and fat into real energy that you can use. The other method that you can do at an unconscious level is to start thinking of hunger as an opportunity for you to burn fat. I want you to think of body fat as stored energy, very much like a fuel tank in a car or a spare battery. The more hungry that you feel, the more you're training your body to use your body fat as an energy source. Use the body's hunger as a sign that you want to feed your body nutrients, not energy. The key fuel source to avoid will be sugar and carbohydrates. The more sugar and carbohydrates you feed your body, the more tired you will become. And the reason for that is, although sugar and carbohydrates are rich in energy, they also give your body too much energy too quickly. And therefore, your body releases lots of insulin to be able to combat the excess sugar in your blood, which is toxic in high doses. As your unconscious will remember, too much insulin turns your body fat invisible, so your body can't use body fat as a source of energy. Therefore, you will have less and less desire to have sugary foods or foods high in carbohydrates, and instead you will crave food high in nutrition and high in natural sources of water. You will crave the real source of energy, which is the energy that comes from sunshine. Natural, green, plant-based foods like vegetables, salads, and fruits will be your source of energy. And by doing so, you reduce the amount of insulin in your blood, enabling your body to tap into the energy from vegetables and fruits and salads, but also tap into the energy stored in your body fat. The more nutrients that you feed yourself, the more energy you will release. You are feeding your body nutrients rich in all the essential things that your body needs to convert your body fat into energy. You will feel more and more motivated, because the more energy that you have, the more desire you will have to convert that body fat into physical activity. You will find an increased desire to go walking, to go for jogs, to do things that are active. You will look for opportunities to take the stairs rather than take the lift, to walk rather than take the car. And you will find that the more active you become, the more energy you release. I now want you to imagine a time in your past where you felt incredibly motivated. A specific time could be recently, or it could be from many years ago. A time where you felt incredibly motivated, the most motivated that you've ever felt in your life. When you can think of such a time, I want you to go back and study how you looked at that time. How you looked when you found that you were incredibly motivated. Because most people don't realize that your body language and your physiology, your posture, is the combination lock to tapping into resourceful states. I want you to look and observe how you looked back then when you were filled with motivation. Most people, when they're filled with motivation, tend to breathe in a certain way. They tend to look in a certain way. They tend to have a positive, strong body language, a posture, that go-to, go-getting attitude. And I want you to look at yourself, and when you're convinced that you're seeing a version of yourself high in motivation, feeling energized, then I want you to imagine walking and climbing into that memory, looking at the scene through your own eyes, accessing what you saw at the time, what you felt at the time. And I want you to check that you're back in that memory by looking at your own hands, perhaps even looking at your own reflection in a mirror or a door. And once you're convinced that you are back in that memory, I want you to re-experience the motivation that you felt. Really tap into where you felt that motivation. Now, for some people, they feel the motivation in their chest, in their heart. Sometimes you feel the motivation in your gut, and sometimes in your mind, but try and locate the very location where you feel that motivation. And for most people, when they feel the location, it also has a movement to it. It has an energy to it. There are certain resourceful states that feel static, but motivation and passion and enthusiasm tends to be movement-based resources. That might be a spiral, that might be a shift from left to right, like a piston, but there will be a particular movement that you feel when you feel that motivation. And I want you to give it a shape and a color. Decide right now what shape and color you're going to give this internal resource that you call motivation. Feel how good it feels to feel that motivation. Maybe you've given it a square or a triangle or a color. And then I want you to think whether or not that shape is 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional. And I want you to feel which way it's spinning or moving. And then, when you can really hone in and feel how good it feels to feel motivated, I want you to increase the size of your shape. And as it gets bigger, I want you to notice that the motivation starts to increase. You feel even more motivated than you felt before. And then, when you've got it at the optimum size, I then want you to increase the brightness of your color. Notice that as you increase the brightness of the color, almost to make it glowing and halo-like, that also increased the motivation. You now have a colorful shape, perhaps 3D, that's bigger and brighter and almost glowing. And then I want you to speed up the movement or the motion, that this feeling that you have inside of you. And as you increase the speed, perhaps you notice that you increase the feeling of motivation. You've now amplified the level of motivation that you have. And because you've given it a shape and a color and a location, this is what's known as a mnemonic, a memory tool. So whenever you want to increase your motivation, I want you to think back to this shape, this color, and you can always increase the size of the shape, make the brightness brighter, make the color richer, and increase the speed of whatever movement you feel that this resource has within you. And as you do so, this will then create a trigger, an anchor, for you to fire off levels of energy and motivation whenever you need them. And the final way that you can increase levels of motivation is to have a clear reason why you're doing what you're doing. Perhaps you're a parent. And if you're a parent, then you'll know that many children follow their parents' footsteps as role models. And perhaps you don't like the size or shape that you are at the moment, and you want to be a different type of role model for your child. Or perhaps you want to inspire your friends or your family. Maybe you're doing it for your health. Maybe you know that if you don't change now, then you're going to be on a pathway, a trajectory, where you will have future health problems. Maybe it's that there's a certain event that you're preparing for. Maybe a holiday, a wedding, a family occasion. Whatever it might be, there's something in particular that you're moving towards. That's your why. And the more powerful the motive and the more emotive the motive, the more you will unlock increasing levels of motivation and energy. Someone that has a clear purpose can almost have unlimited levels of motivation. And right now, when you have clarity as to why you want to lose the weight, are unleashing even more increasing levels of energy and motivation. You now know that energy comes in many different forms. And the body fat that you have is just stored energy. So if you're trying to lose body fat, then by definition you have excess energy. The second thing is that motivation and energy is a resourceful state. You can always think back to a time when you felt energized and motivated, and think of where that resource is located within you. Give it a color, a shape, a movement, and amplify that by increasing the submodalities, making it bigger, brighter, faster. And that will find that you are increasing your levels of resourcefulness proportionate to your desire to lose this fat and lose this weight. And whenever you want to increase your motivation even more, just ask yourself the question, why is it important that I lose this weight? And see what answers come to mind. If you ask yourself a specific question, you will be surprised at just how many reasons you can come up with as to why it's an absolute must, an absolute essential thing for you to lose this weight. And what you'll find is that whether it's for confidence, health, inspiration, or contribution, once you're clear on your purpose, your reason for losing weight, you will continue to unlock and release an infinite amount of motivation. The motivation to see you through tough emotional times. The motivation, the energy, so that you don't just go to the gym once or twice, but you go back again and again. The motivation to walk more, be more active, take the stairs. The motivation to drink more water, eat more food that's high in water and high in nutrients like salads, vegetables, and fruits. Unconsciously, you have now unlocked the safe to your resources of motivation and energy. And over the next few days, you will become all the more aware of just how energized you feel, how motivated you've become. And the more motivated you've become, the more active you'll be. And the more active you'll be, the more momentum you will create. You are creating more energy, more motivation. And the more actions you take, the more good choices you make, the more you will unleash even more momentum, optimism, and confidence. In a few moments' time, I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken full of energy and motivation. You will awaken with all normal sensations returning to your arms and legs, and you will awaken full of positivity and energy. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.